So let's start. Let's start with this small group of us.
Okay.
Hello, ICPC friends. My name is Karolina Sajniak, and I'm the coordinator of ICPC Career Boost Academy. And I'm honored to welcome you all to our third webinar, Design Your Brand. And let me introduce you to our guest speaker, Carsten Dürer, the well-known journalist and the editor-in-chief of Piano News magazine for Flügel und Klavier, the CEO of Classic Academy Germany. Moreover, Carsten teaches history of music and career planning at music academies and private music institutions. And it's a great privilege to have him with us today. Hello, Carsten.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, some rules. The webinar is scheduled to last 45-50 minutes. And I know that a lot of you are interested in the business side of music. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate to express them throughout the session. And I'm sure if you get involved in the following discussion, you will benefit a lot from our guest's experience that he wants to share with us today. So, Carsten,
Okay.
Why don't we start with the quote, okay? An artist is a product, a combination of talented performer and a business-oriented person. Do you agree with that?
Well, I agree on one hand. On the other hand, I would see it a little bit different. I think that an artist nowadays have to think like an entrepreneur, like a businessman. Actually, if you are not yet involved in a huge surrounding with artist agency and businessman, as if you start a small business. I think this is very, very important. That means you have, I mean, a lot of artists tell me, I want to concentrate on the music only. This is great, but you are not normally not that far yet to do this. Only if you have all the surrounding around you, you can concentrate. In the beginning, you have to think like a businessman. You have to think, okay, I have to invest to get something out. And this is, I think, the most important thing to do. It is about a lot of things, you know. It starts with investing probably in what I call is necessarily to include into your own presentation folder. It starts with photos, with writing a biography. I think you can write your own biography, you can learn this, but you also can invest in somebody who is used to write these kind of things. Now you would say, okay, but I don't have the money. And this is the biggest problem most of the times. But I think there are always little things which you can think differently. For example, photos. A lot of people think, okay, I have to go to a photo session. This costs about between 1,000 and 2,500 euros, but only if you want to look up to one of the well-named and very experienced photographers, like I only mention Marco Borggreve. You all know this name because he is very well known to take photos of artists, well-known artists. Or nowadays also Nikolai Lund in Denmark. He's also getting more and more famous. But I think always that there are so many well-experienced photographers. If you look around, do they still listen or?
Yes, of course. Okay. They just, yeah, they just do not want to be seen. Okay.
I think most of you are living in a town or studying in an academy where a lot of arts are involved. And this kind of thinking you have to use. There are a lot of academies where you have, or cities where you have a photo department. Why don't you turn to an not well known, but somebody who is taking photos of you because he wants to get out to make his name too. He will do it for very little, charging you, very little. The same, I think, is because I got a few questions. How do I find, and this is the most important and very difficult question, do I need an artist agency? And how can I find an artist agency? Well, I can tell you by experience, because I tried to help young pianists to find an artist agency in Germany. And even that I know a lot of these people, most of the time the answer is we are full in our roster. We have no time to take somebody else over. So that means you have to deal yourself with getting concerts. And most of the artists say, okay, but I'm not very well in selling myself. I don't want to be on the phone with people. And there I have probably a trick. Why don't you start a kind of self-agency? That means you turn to a friend, you can write the letters, you can prepare everything, and a friend is sending out your presentation folder, everything, but you are not selling yourself. There is a kind of artificial thing between. I think this is a nice trick to not to sell yourself or get on the phone yourself. You can pay people a little money, only that they are talking in your name. Well, I think, yes, it is important to get somewhere an artist agency, but you have to ask yourself, what do I expect from an artist agency? Most people think, okay, I only want to have more concerts. There are two different kinds of artist agencies. There are big ones, which everybody knows, like Harrison Parrott, Schmid in Germany, Goethe, and IMC, and all these big agencies. There are difficulties with big agencies because they have already a big roster of well-known pianists. Even if you would be taken to their roster, there is no guarantee that you get more concerts. You have to understand that an agency, especially the big ones, have to earn a lot of money because there are a lot of employees. So, and you are aware that they earn more money with a well-known pianist than with you, even if they would try to sell you. So a lot of times I hear that young and not yet known pianists are taken over by a big agency, and after 1 year they are quite disappointed that nothing is happening. You have to understand they are more eager to sell their big names because they earn more money by it.
Of course.
And a lot of times you are only named on the roster, but nothing is happening. And that's why I know a lot of artists who are changing a lot of time their artist agency only because they think and they hope that the next one will do better. So sometimes it's even more clever to turn to a smaller agency, but you have to prepare yourself. You have to know exactly to whom you are turning. Do they have already 2 or 3 pianists on the roster? Does it make sense to turn to them, even that they have already 3 pianists? Are you different than these pianists? If you are male, a male pianist, and they have already 3 or 2 young male pianists, it makes no sense for them to take you over. You have to think about this, because to stick out of the mass, you have to be special. Everybody, if you talk to people, everybody is looking to special pianists. That's why when you look over the roosters and big agencies are taking over a special one, it can happen that it is special because you won big competitions. But sometimes it happens also that they take over somebody because he is different than the others in repertoire, in stage appearance, in everything you can name. And there it starts. You have to think from the beginning, what makes myself very special? This you also have to think of when you write a biography. You have to try to find out what makes you very individual in this mass of pianists. It can be repertoire, it can be interest, it can be also the way of education you went through. If you look to the biographies of nowadays pianists, most of them try to have a story behind. This is something very important. You know, everybody is looking for a story. Us, like journalists, are looking for a story. A label is looking for a story because they think if I have a story, I can sell it to the press. If I can sell it to the press, there are the promoters getting interested because they can tell their audience also about this story. But I want everybody to create the kind of story. It's not about creating something which is not true. You have to stick to the truth. Otherwise, if you are successful with the story and you only invented it, you will on long term find out that it's blowing up. So I think that individuality is not a problem. Every pianist is an individual. Everybody has only to find out, and you have to ask yourself, what makes me different from other pianists? And I'm sure you will find out some answers. Are there already some questions?
Guys, are some questions?
Because I can make a monologue.
I know, of course. Yes, sometimes I think that the talent is not enough right now, you know. So what are these unique features that, you know, you can put into the bio, or that you can, you know, make the story with, you know, so.
Well, it's hard to say if I don't know the people, you know. Then you are speaking into the blue. It can be that your parents were not musicians. You were trained only for a few years, and then you are self-trained or autodidact or something like this. You also can be that you were trained in a course of a very famous pianist, which can be a very special feature also. It always also can be, every artist I know has a certain kind of love for a certain kind of repertoire. And to bring this out, to improve this in a biography, or thinking, okay, I can tell the people that this is something I'm really working hard on. Then it makes a lot of sense to bring this out and not trying, and I think this time is anyhow over, that every pianist should try to cover the whole repertoire which we have. I think everybody should look, what is my interest, and then it makes me already special. If you are coming up with the most well-known composers, it makes you not special. Think of what is really of your interest. I know that a lot of pianists nowadays have also a side interest, which makes you also individual, not only in music. It can happen. I remember I had a seminar, and a young lady told me, I made an exercise that they had to write their biography. And it was very random, I have to say, what they gave me. And suddenly, in talking to one of the students, one said, Yes, aside, I'm also studying psychology. How do you say mm, like as a psychiatrist?
Yes.
She was studying psychiatry. And I said, well, this is very special. That makes you special. So there isn't a side interest. Another one told me, well, I'm also doing in a side project where I play pop music. I'm composing and writing songs. And she was afraid to tell because she thought that it would harm her, her classical music features. And I said, no, nowadays, everybody is looking for something like this. If you look around, who is nowadays signed also by labels, a lot of these people are composing themselves, have a side interest, which they are combining with a career in classical music. So I think everybody has a certain kind of individual interest, individual feature, which he has to bring out very strong. Well, concerning a biography, I only have to say, most of the people think, yeah, but nothing really happened in my life yet. So what shall I write into my biography? I didn't win a big competition. I didn't have so many performances. And I always say, okay, stick to the truth. Even if you had a few performances, you can mention them. And you always have to see that a biography is not only selling yourself. It's telling a story about your life. And you went already a certain amount of life and years with the music. So, and there are, I think, very important 3 different kinds of biography you have to turn to. One is what? Hello.
Hi, Ola.
Hi.
Somebody said something? No.
No, I just start video just to
Okay.
be more present, let's say.
Okay. Yes, it's nice.
Ola is also having her indie group, or the group of the pop a little bit pop group.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm doing a bit of everything. Contemporary music mixed with with pop and trip hop. So yeah, a lot of different things. And yeah, as I'm following, I totally agree that if somebody wants to be unique, he or she has to search for something, something that let's say is more extended. So some unique features like combining some different fields or some different genres. Yeah.
But it has not to be artificial, that you are now, okay, I have to do something different. It has to be your nature. And what I said, you have to stick to the truth. But I think everybody has a side interest of music, you know, even theater. It's always nice if it's coming out of the arts field. It's always nice, but also literature or something like this, you know. If you only say, oh, I love to travel, yeah, this you can tell your artist agent that he's not afraid to send you somewhere, but it's normal nowadays that everybody likes first to travel. What I wanted to turn to is that there are different kind of biographies. One is for sure selling yourself. If you turn to a business level with your presentation folder where a biography is included, then for sure you can write a biography, what you did, with whom you studied, and you can drop names too, where you performed. You can drop names and festivals, because you're turning to somebody who is in the business, and he or she will know a lot of these names. I find it very stupid when I read in a liner note for a concert all these things, because even me, I'm in this business for quite a while, and then there are these lines of name dropping, which is so boring. It's so boring, and half of the people or the places I never heard of. Can you imagine? You're sitting in a concert, you are reading the biography of the artist, and then there are these 10 lines of name dropping you never heard of. It's unnecessarily, I think. It's boring for the audience. For the audience, it's more interesting whom I'm listening to. You have to present yourself as a normal, as a person. They want to know something personal from you. And this means, again, you have to create a little story about your life. Where you were born. Also, sometimes it's very funny that a lot of artists forget to name, okay, for a concert it's different, but if you turn to somebody else, to name what you are playing. The instrument. A lot of people write biographies and they don't even think that they have to name what kind of instrument you are playing. And it's very funny, only when you read the whole biography, then you can say, okay, for sure she's playing a string instrument or the piano. So it sounds a little bit strange, but I read a lot of biographies where they forgot to mention what they are doing actually, and why they turned to this instrument and not to another. For everybody of you, it's very normal, you know, because you are living with this instrument and you turn to it. Yes, but why? This would be a question you have to tell the people why exactly you choose the piano. And don't come up with, I love the piano. There has to be a little bit more of this, you know? If you mention prizes, competitions, or whatever in a biography, then it's always better to mention the well-known ones and also to stick to the truth. There are a lot of tricks, especially about competitions. You were prize winner of this and this competition doesn't mean a lot if you are turning to a business level. Which prize? Don't be shy to say you were finalist only, or you won third, fourth prize, because everybody nowadays with internet gets it anyhow immediately which kind of prize you won. And there are a lot of lies in this world about pricing and competitions. We all know this, right? And if not, ask Gustav. Arling, he knows it all. For sure, in a biography, it has to be also your repertoire list. And also there, stick to the truth. Don't only write a huge list of repertoire to interest people. And if they are turning to you, especially on the business level, if somebody would call you and ask you if you can step in a concert where the pianist canceled and they're looking over your concert list and there is written, I don't know, Busoni concerto or something like this, you have to be prepared for this. Something more about biographies, or shall we turn to?
You know that there are some, you said 3 types of biographies. So first was the normal biography, a short biography, and what?
Well, I divide between 3 biographies. First is the business level, where you would turn to a label or an artist agent or something like this. There you have to be very precise where you performed, mention all the names, your whole education. The second, what I mentioned, is for an audience, a wider audience. And then I think it's a biography for journalists. You have to imagine that most of the journalists nowadays have very little time. Mm-hmm. If you want to interest them, you have to write already a story, which can be taken and published. You know, it's not all specialized press. There are a lot of local and newspapers journalists. If you turn to them, please give them something they can print, because they don't have time to search on internet or whatever, you know. And this would be the third. You have to create a nice story which could be printed already.
Okay. Okay, so I've got some more questions.
Yes.
What skills do you need to manage yourself, Carsten?
Well, the first thing would be, I think, you don't have to be shy. You don't have to be shy to talk to people, to call people, and to present yourself. You have to be a very connective person. This is the most important skill. A lot of times artists are quite shy when it comes to themselves, to present themselves, to talk to people, only to approach people in a gathering after a concert, to go to somebody and start to talk and present yourself as an artist, as a pianist. I think this is the most important skill. And, which is very important, you have to be quite organized. Because, you have to prepare a lot of things, you know, and this is very important. If you manage yourself, you have to think that you have to take a part of each day. In the beginning, it would be a little bit longer. Later, if you prepared, it takes less and less time. Like an hour in the beginning every day, you have to concentrate on collecting addresses, prepare letters for press. You can also prepare letters for labels, for agents, and all these things. But don't go only to the internet and look for an address of some agency. This will never arrive at the right person. You have really to look for the name in this business area, for an agent, for a label, for a press. You cannot send a letter to a newspaper because it will never reach the right person who's in charge. So this means you have to really make research, and then you can prepare a kind of list. When you know that in 6 months you will perform somewhere, it doesn't matter where, please start to write and prepare a letter, what you are playing, where, and turn to the people, invite everybody on your prepared list. You can invite label managers, you can invite artist agents. Probably they will not come, but invite them again for the next concert. Then you cannot hope that every promoter, especially the small ones, will attract all the press, will write to all the press. So this is a part of your organization day. You have to prepare yourself. There was and because it always coming up with social media, but I wrote it on Facebook. I mean, fine, you have about 2,000 friends on Facebook probably, and you don't know anybody. It's overestimated, but I mean, probably of this 2,000, you know 20 personally. So would they travel to come to your concert? This is not enough, you know. For sure, I know that this is a very interesting field, this social media field. And everybody is looking to those artists who made a career out of this, like this YouTube careers. The best known is probably Valentina Lisitsa, who made a career out of getting a lot of followers because she played very fast or whatever. Concerning social media, you have to decide on which social media you are concentrating. For sure, everybody already has an artist page on Facebook. If not, then this is for sure a thing you can do. Don't involve it with your personal Facebook site. You have to have an artist Facebook site. This is very important. And there you can post a lot of things concerning your artistic life. It can be personal, what you are just preparing for a concert or only preparing for yourself, about rehearsing, about practicing, but don't combine it with your real private life too much. Mm-hmm. Because this is not your artist. It's a very good feature to present yourself, but also there you have to be aware that the material you put on YouTube has to be very professional, because nowadays people looking for professional things and not just a moving camera in somewhere. So if you have a small performance, if you are rehearsing or something like this, it's very easy nowadays to put it on a stable stative and make real good video.
Oh,
from what you are doing.
Carsten, I'm sorry, there are some problems with connection, so can you just repeat one more time the last few sentences, you know? Yeah.
Okay. The artist page on Facebook, everybody got? Mm-hmm. Yes. I wanted to turn to the other social media things you can involve. You can combine Facebook easily with Twitter, and Twitter even with Instagram. We are living in a world of visual things, so Instagram can be very powerful if you use it the right way. Even nowadays, very small, short videos on Instagram are possible. So you can use the whole social media, but you have, and this is the most exhausting part, it doesn't help that you create something. You have, and there comes your own organization again. You have actually to do it almost every day for a certain amount of time. Otherwise, it's getting very boring for everybody who subscribed your site. Same with YouTube. You know, it doesn't help if you have one good video there and you have a YouTube follower subscription page, and nobody is subscribing because he saw already this video 2 years ago. So this is a very exhausting part, and this means, and that's why I turned in the beginning to the fact that you have to see yourself a little bit in the beginning like a business yourself. You are a business and you are running your own business. You are self-employed. You have to be aware of this. You are a self-employed artist, and it takes a certain time that you probably have the chance that somebody is dealing with all this. You know, that you have an agent, but also the agent will ask each time, do you have something new? Can you provide us this and this? Can you give us this and this? And this is very, very important that you organize yourself very, very clearly. And in the beginning, like I said, you have to invest a little bit of more time. And when you prepared everything, then you only take it out of your computer and can send it, you know?
Yes, so it's like a time management, yes.
Absolutely.
The proper settings of priorities is crucial, for sure.
Absolutely, I think so. And when I'm asked, so what do I do? How can I deal with this? You know, everybody is looking for the big career, yes. But there are actually, if you talk to people, I know there was a Chinese pianist coming to Germany, didn't speak anything, but he was eager. So he learned German and he wrote letters to everybody, I think once a month. It was amazing. And someone, there was a label who said, okay, it's interesting. Nowadays, it's only 7 years ago, he has his own festival. He is performing. He has out there, I think, 3 or 4 CDs. And because he was so intense, not on the nerves of anybody, but he was very organized and went on and on. Even I reported someone about him because of these skills, that he was so well organized and made his self-management so interesting. Then I wanted to meet this guy. So it's only one example, but I think even if you talk to nowadays more famous, still young pianists, everybody will tell you that it's very exhausting to keep up with your social media, with the connection with, okay, they have a label and agency, but they have to create new ideas, new programs, everything, you know? There is never, I think, probably the old famous ones are, they went their way, you know, and they can probably sit there and prepare their programs, and there is somebody who is telling them when they have a concert and if they want to record a CD or something. But this is a different time. Most of these people are around 70, and they went away to get famous in different times. You have to imagine how many well-educated pianists every year only in Central Europe are coming out of the academies. And this is a different time. Everybody is well-trained and well-educated and can play. It's not like that people cannot play. But you are also sometimes probably astonished that there are some pianists who got famous and you listen to them live and you are astonished why they made a career. Didn't it happen to you too?
Yeah.
I mean, so, and when you look behind, there is a story, they are special, they approach the audience, everybody in a different kind, you know, and I'm honest, for sure, with all the work you're doing, there is also this little thing which is called luck. But I guess that, and I'm convinced that you can influence your luck a little bit. And then for sure, there are examples like the vice president of Sony Classical 20 years ago, by chance, listened to Volodos. And he said, this is one we can make, to be honest, business with. So Sony Classical signed Volodos. He was completely unknown 20 years ago. Nobody ever heard his name. He didn't speak English, you know. He played very good, interesting, a lot of virtuoso stuff. And I had an interview with the president of Sony Classical by that time. And I asked him if it's fair to build them up so big, because I saw a lot of times that especially the labels dropped somebody very soon after. And I asked him, do you think that it is fair? And he actually, it's Peter Gelb, who is now in charge of the Metropolitan Opera in New York. He answered me, who told you that life is fair? He got a chance. If he's selling good CDs, he will get a second chance. And this is nowadays also with the labels, you know. Everybody is looking, oh, I want to record for this and that label. Be prepared. There are almost no real exclusive contracts any longer. It's CD by CD. If you sell well, you get a second chance. And what I said in the beginning about investing into yourself, Sure, a CD is still nowadays a sounding business card. You cannot be, you cannot expect that you are selling on the market a lot of CDs. A CD is for yourself, and a CD costs, I don't know, between 5 and 15,000 euros. It depends very much on the contract. Last year, I made through somebody, so that they didn't know that I was interested, a questionnaire around all the so-called independent labels in Germany to ask them what they would charge for recording. And it was amazing. It really was from 5,000 to 15,000. Mm-hmm. And some said, okay, if you pay 8,000, you get 300 CDs for yourself. Somebody else said, okay, you pay 10,000 with everything and you get 1,000 CDs for yourself. Is it interesting? No, 1,000 CDs is not interesting because it would take somebody who has not a lot of concerts, I don't know, 10 years or longer to sell them. But it's also a business calculation. If you know you will have a few concerts in venues where you probably even play these kind of pieces which are on the CD, you normally on average can sell, I would say, between 5 and 10 in a concert. You pay probably 8,000 euros for a CD recording. And then you start to calculate, okay, how long would I need to get the money back? And it's not the money to spend. It's the money you have to keep for the next recording. But you can do it to be even. It's only the first time investment which is hard to get. But I heard only 2 weeks ago that 3 pianists, very young pianists, unknown, they actually rose all the money on these platforms. How do you say?
Crowdfunding. Crowdfunding platform.
Yes. I was astonished because I went to one of these websites. It was okay done. For sure, it's a video talk. You can include a little bit of your playing and all these things. But actually, this young pianist raised 12,000 euros. Mm-hmm. So he even had money to pay a PR agency to promote this CD, which he is recording. So there are a lot of possibilities nowadays. It's more easy than in former times, I think, only that we have more pianists out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like time flies so fast, you know, it's almost the end of our webinar. Do you have any questions, guys? You know, it's the great opportunity to just ask Carsten some, you know, I think that the people are very shy, you know, so yes, that's why.
I understand.
Yeah, but
like I said, this you have to lose a little bit your shyness, you know. Yes. I understand you are all in your private rooms and you are not prepared. There is one thing more I would like to mention, which I found out. Artists are practicing like crazy to be very good prepared when they are asked, or if they are asked to have a concert or something like that. They are.
Carsten, I'm sorry, it's some difficulties. Yeah, and I think that it's incredibly important what you want to say. So just please repeat one more time.
You hear me now?
Yeah, great.
Okay. What I said is they are preparing at their instrument to be almost perfect, never completely perfect. And when it comes to different areas, they are never prepared. They are swimming like a fish and they say, I don't know how to deal with it. And this is a very interesting question. I think if you think what you want, you have to prepare yourself. You can prepare almost situations. You can prepare them even in a private atmosphere in place. I did it a few times with interviews. Everybody is looking, oh, it would be so cool if a special magazine or newspaper would have an interview with me to bring my name out. And then you are coming there and you are not prepared. I had so many interviews with young pianists who were not prepared for the interview. And I was asking myself, what do they expect? They prepare for every note they are playing, and they are coming to another business area. It's a business area, and they are not prepared. So if you meet for the first time a journalist who is mean, you never know. You meet this guy for the first time. He can bring you into fields where you don't want it to go. So you have to prepare. This only one area of the whole thing. You have to prepare yourself how to present yourself. Be aware what you are doing with your body language. Be aware that you don't want him to turn to very private areas about your religion, about your sexual life, or something like this. You know, for sure, there are journalists looking for this story, but there you can very well prepare yourself not to talk about this. Turn to another subject, tell openly you don't want to be asked these questions, but in a polite way, not being annoyed. And this is only one business area. What would happen if a big promoter would ask you, can you come to me and we have a talk about something? Would you be prepared? This was a question. What I want to turn to is that with all your eagerness to prepare yourself as an artist, you can also prepare yourself in different areas, I think. I mean, you are used to prepare and concentrate. Use this skill also for other areas. And there are always possibilities to play in your head the situation. Play with the situation. How can it be? Prepare yourself. It always can happen that there are surprises. But if you are more and more thinking about this and preparing yourself, write something down. Write down what you want from a certain person. Everybody is thinking, oh, I want to have a big agency. But why? What you are looking for concerts, for something to make the best contracts with the promoter. First of all, you have to think, okay, if I sign a contract, what should be in this contract? Do I have to pay a fee to this agent, even if I brought up this concert? Now, all these things are very, very important, and you can prepare yourself for this. Write a list what you want from somebody, and be honest in nowadays world of art and music, that you cannot ask for everything. This is unrealistic, I think.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, your speech was very inspiring. Yeah, but unfortunately it's the time to end our webinar, and I would like to thank you very much for this opportunity, you know, to gain some knowledge that we want to, because we want to achieve a success in, you know, also in the today's music business, and I would like to thank you all for maybe not a great discussion this time, but for your presence. Because
but I thought that there are more questions, no?
I'm
Nobody
sure
has a question, a last question?
yeah, no, as you can see, the people are, shy, and they just wrote you a lot of questions that I gave it to you, I'm really happy.
It couldn't be covered everything. It couldn't be covered everything, I think. It's a lot. It would cost a whole week to go into it.
Yeah, so once again, big thanks, and I want to welcome you all to the next year of the webinar seasons starting next month. So bye-bye. Thank you very much for time.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.